I always try to encourage, do this, and kind of always giving positive feedback, because I don't want people to get in their heads. I think get people out of their heads, just kind of into their body, feeling good. And photography it's a process. I don't just envision a shot and it happens. You have to work and find it and move around and try different things, and then you go, oh, that's clicking, that's working, let's do more of that. So it's just a collaborative process.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Rachel. How are you?
I'm good. I'm fresh off my third headshot shoot with you.
Yes.
So I'm still feeling the aura of you and
your
camera.
Third time's a charm. Yeah.
That's what they say. There's so many people that have questions about headshots, and I have many.
I've got answers. So.
Oh, thank God. It is a big mystery when you are a new actor. I know there are some actors who are starting their careers who are listening, and some who are more seasoned, but until you get it right, you're always after that headshot. It's almost maddening. And of course, we need these headshots throughout our career. So you're in a really good business. I wanted to start and ask you a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you arrived at what Backstage has called you LA's favorite headshot photographer for 3 years.
Yes, that was a while back, but I still appreciate
still true
the accolades nonetheless. Yeah. Well, I'm originally from New Jersey, and I caught the acting bug I did 1 year of college out of high school, and I had always been interested in acting, but was always kind of shy, so I was a little intimidated by it. But after my first year of college, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, and I was just like, I want to try acting. I want to do it, and I want to do it else. I quit after my first year of college, didn't go back. Went into, I was from New Jersey, so going to New York a lot, auditioning, got a manager, booked my first national commercial that I went out for, and, was very excited and pursued it for years. I have, personal stuff that kept me from moving to LA early on. So I finally moved to LA 21 years ago, was still pursuing acting, and I was working. And I took up photography as a side hustle initially. I thought I could do headshots for friends and, just make side money, just kind of in between commercials and that kind of thing. And lo and behold, it took off for me. Over time, I worked hard. Actually, we're in the middle of the writer's strike and actor strike now. The last writer's strike was in 07, 08. And that's when I wasn't auditioning anymore, but I was doing photography. And I decided, let me really lean into the headshot thing. So the last writer's strike was kind of what got things going for me, photography wise. And
how interesting that you've come
yeah.
full circle. I think it's a fantastic time to do headshots right now. And if you can do it, this is the time to get all your tools together, which is why I did it. But I know for some people, you have to put that off. And which leads me to my next question. This is such a gigantic thing to say, I want to set up a headshot shoot. And there's so many details. So I was wondering if you could take me through from early preparation, what your philosophy is on how the actor should prepare, and the steps that you take when you meet the actor.
Sure. Well, the actor should prepare. It's going to vary from actor to actor. Some actors have reps already. The reps know exactly what they want and need from them, or, they think they know what they want. So they're going to tell them, get this type, this type, this type, get your wardrobe appropriately. Most agents aren't going to get too involved in wardrobe. There are some that do that. So it's really knowing what characters are you most likely, going to be considered for, right? That you're going to get submitted for, and really pinpointing, those characters, whether it's girl next door, guy next door, edgy, rock and roll type, upscale. Everyone has qualities, that they kind of automatically have that they're probably going to get cast as initially.
Can we talk about those qualities? Can you get a little more specific? Of course, typecasting, yes, but what's a quality? Because you're so intimate behind the camera. I feel like you're literally looking into my soul. And
Uh,
what is the quality? How do you describe that to someone who's new in acting and hasn't been typecast yet and has no idea what type they're going to play?
Sure. Well, I would say, I mean, if you want to know what qualities people see you as, then that's a good question to just ask, fellow actor friends or other people, like, what do you see me playing? Because I think people kind of know, like, they can look at you and go, you're going to play this, you're going to play this, you're probably not going to play this. So I think that everyone has sort of inherent qualities that they automatically already sort of lean. Like, I had a roommate, for years who just always played the nerdy, funny guy because that's just, what he was. Now, later on down the line, he's obviously gone on to play, more things than that. Started got a good career, but in the beginning, generally people play close to their own type, I would say. So, uh,
I
you
have such
know,
a love-hate relationship with typecasting personally. Don't Is there some logic, David, if you don't know yet, to get a headshot that is simple, tight, close up, and doesn't define you in one area? Would you suggest getting a shot like that?
yes, yes. I mean, I think it's a yes and no thing. I think yes, personally, that people should have something that just represents you. Like, what is the best sort of version of you, right? But then, there are agents that I shoot for that want them in a nurse's outfit, want them in a police uniform. Like, they want to be able to go, oh, you're looking for this? Well, we've got that shot. We've got that shot, and they have them doing like 8 to 10 different looks. So there's that way to go about it where it's just like, oh, you need this? I can play this. Here's my headshot that proves it. And then there's, the just sort of engaging, here's, me at my best sort of, and how I come across. And I think that that's a great sort of shot to have. That's more the older school version of headshots when things were printed and you were mailing in a printed headshot, for a casting. Now that everything's online, they're looking at the sea of thumbnails. So they tend to sort of be looking for someone that fits the breakdown that they're currently working on.
No, and
Whereas back in the day when
lacks.
I was doing it in the
Mhm.
90s, it was like you had a commercial shot and a theatrical shot. You were probably wearing black in your theatrical shot and something a little bright, a little blue in your commercial shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that's still true. I see what my commercial agents like, and they like that color that pops in the shirt and that brightness. So I'm not so sure. I'm really torn whether have we moved ahead or have we not. Max, who's my producer who you met, who's always a contrarian, said to ask you, why do we need headshots? Why do they matter in a world of video?
This is a good question, and I've spoken to casting directors because I at one point had an idea of like, what about like a talking headshot, kind of like a slate shot, where it's
Mm-hmm.
that, and then the person starts talking. And I think for casting directors, it's a time issue. They want to be able to like, you know, sort of be able to look through and go, yes, yes, no. I don't think they have time to watch, even if it's a 10-second clip. That time adds up over time. So I think for the initial submission process, it's not as practical.
Okay. Do you
Does that
see
make
us?
sense?
It does make sense. When I say reels or video, I mean like, would they rather just go right to push their reel, or do you feel like we're always going to need the headshot to get through the door? Do you see that changing in the future?
Well, I mean, that's definitely something I've given a lot of thought to and, been concerned about because obviously that will affect what I
Mm-hmm.
do. So my answer is your guess is as good as mine as to where it's going with technology, right? I mean, you just never know what's going to be a disruptor, what things are going to stay. Like people have said to me, "Oh, actors are always going to need headshots," and I'm like, I don't know, are they? Like, of course I kind of hope so, but they're with the advent of social media and how popular it is and how everything's very image heavy, you know, I don't know how long traditional headshots will actually last.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it seems like it really the main factor is really how is casting doing their process. I think that's what it comes down to. You know,
And of course,
if
we've
they're
seen a
looking
huge change in that. Now we have self tapes. No,
right.
very few in person auditions. I had one this week for a commercial, but no theatrical in person. for
Yeah.
union jobs. So who would have thought of that? Who would have thought of AI? It's interesting how our industry is changing. People either are going to get like a neutral shot or their agents told them what to do. And then they book the session with your assistant or on your website. And
Yeah.
then you don't meet your clients ahead of time or talk to them, right? Is that your
I do
process?
if they request it, but most people don't. So for the most part, you're correct. I don't.
Okay, so what's
Yeah,
so I know with like we immediately clicked, but I mean I think I'm pretty super easy to talk to, and you are.
you
But
are. Yeah.
so yeah, so what's the next process for the actor who is going to book you for a shoot, and they bring their wardrobe and they show up, and how do you find that instant connection with them, or find how do you get them to relax?
Good question. Yeah, because most people do come in, they're a bit nervous. People who've done it maybe for years and years are not as much, but especially newer people, it's a nerve-wracking thing because A, you want to like the shots yourself. B, you want to satisfy your, agent, manager, whoever's kind of, sending you in. You're paying a decent amount of money. You want to like your makeup. So there's a lot of factors of things that, could go wrong. And so, and people also just have a little bit of nerves sometimes. Just people feel awkward doing headshots because I hear all the time, I'm great when I have dialogue and it's a moving camera, but like in a still camera, I just kind of don't know what to do. So there's always that aspect. So personally, I've always just tried to keep it really simple. I try to just keep things conversational, keep it easy, keep it relaxed. I'm never the type of person or photographer that's giving someone harsh, like, no, don't do that. I never say like, don't do that. I always try to
Mm-hmm.
encourage, do this and kind of always giving positive feedback because I don't want people to get in their heads. I think get people out of their heads, just kind of into their body, feeling good.
Mm.
And photography is it's a process. You don't just I don't just envision a shot and it happens. You have to like work and find it and move around and try different things and then you go, oh, that's clicking, that's working, let's do more of that. So it's just a collaborative process. When it comes to a person showing up and like deciding what types, that's where their homework is important, them knowing what they want to do. And most people do. There are some people that come in, they're like, I don't know, like this is my first time, I don't know. You tell me, I trust you, and I'll just kind of pick the best wardrobe that they brought that I think works, for them
Mm-hmm.
in that case. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I what I really like about you is that it is very chill, and as a result, I've had photographers work so hard with me that I come out of the session looking so extraordinarily animated that I can't use any of the
Oh yeah.
photos. Yeah, so you were highly recommended to me, and I there's something about your style that is so elegant in the rich tones you use. How would you describe your style? What sets you apart?
That's really interesting. Thank you. It was funny. I was with an agent as an actor, and big commercial agency, CESD. This is years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to. They had a lot of clients, so when I started doing headshot photography, I wanted to be able to shoot their clients. So I was like schmoozing the agents, like, "Hey, can you send people my way?" And they looked at my work and they were like, "Well." The one agent says to me, put them in a location, like put them somewhere interesting. Like they just didn't want a solid background. And so that kind of got in my head as to what direction I would take with photography. Because initially I was just like finding a solid background, interesting colors to put behind a person, and I started create finding ways to create depth where there's light in the background but it's out of focus. Then I started playing with like putting the a light in the shot, like a Mole Richardson movie light to create like a flare in the background, or a lot of headshot photographers, especially many years ago and when digital first started, everything's front light because it's just all about the eyes, popping, and not a lot of people use sort of edge lighting or background lights back in the day. So I really started doing that, and that kind of set me apart. Like I'd put a light on the background plus an edge light on the person, and then a really nice key light. So just adding more, I began adding more dimension than just sort of a beautiful front light. And that kind of took, like a lot of photographers sort of started to do that over the years. So that was how that came about, was just her saying that one thing of like, put them somewhere interesting. I didn't want to
Hmm.
traveling around as a headshot photographer is difficult because it limits sort of how many people you can shoot in a day. You have to have the weather, you don't want it hot, you don't want it windy. So there's a lot of factors. So I prefer to be able to, shoot in a
Control
controlled
that.
environment, but
Yeah.
also give options of, depth and background that doesn't just look like you're standing in front of a background. Yeah.
Yeah, I see that. It's very theatrical, very, very filmopic. It must be exciting for you having your day scheduled and, not knowing who you're going to meet, how you're going to click. Every day is fresh new art. Is that inspiring to
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Well, I'm an introvert, so it's a little intimidating sometimes. But yes, and sometimes I'll look people up on Instagram just to kind of get an idea of, who might be coming in or that kind of thing. But yeah, there's definitely times where I have no idea who I'm about to meet, and it is interesting. It is exciting. Yeah.
When you go to someone's Instagram page, do you get a sense of where they need to go? Looking at their images and what they're projecting of themselves, do you look at them and say, oh, we could get a little realer, a little deeper?
No, I don't look at it that way. I get a sense of maybe how experienced they are industry wise, whether they're kind of posting a lot of content of some people. You go on their page and they've got a bunch of headshots, they're showing their self tapes, they're showing and a little postcard of themselves doing a show. So you go, oh, this person's working, they're really working their craft. And then you go to other people and there's nothing about acting. You can't tell anything, and maybe it's brand new to them. So I get that kind of sense. Again, I never try to necessarily go deep with people. Um, like I said, I feel like a lot of times in the past, when people try to do that, they try to go deep, or they're like, give me a second. People can get very in their heads, and I'd rather someone just not be in their head, just be in their body, be relaxed, and you know, just kind of let things happen instead of trying to control the outcome.
But sometimes you must hit upon someone's facade. I mean, I know as an acting teacher, I do. It's cliche. It's a choice that's made because they like maybe don't have haven't trained yet and don't know how to expose themselves or be vulnerable. And so, do you ever feel that wall, that frustration, or just knowing like, hey, this person's not going to really let me in?
Yeah, I don't take it personally like that about letting me in. I think it's more, okay, this if they have a wall, I just understand that's kind of where they're at, and I'm just going to do
Yeah,
my best to put them at ease, to make their images look, the best that they can, because that's their personal process. I'm not going to cure their
yeah.
insecurities and
No,
in an
I
hour and a half photo session.
therapy with David. No, I didn't
Yeah.
mean, of course you don't take it personally. I just meant, are you aware of it? I mean, you're looking with your own eyes into so deeply into someone. And I know as a teacher, as a human being, that you just and you're an actor, you pick up so much. I feel that with a camera, everything must be magnified of what's going on through a person's eyes.
Yeah. I think it depends on the photographer. Me as a person, I'm a sort of live and let live person. I don't want to like try to control anybody. So there's times where, like, for example, I'm shooting a girl and I'm like, this girl's not listening to like my notes of like be still and be real. They just want to model and move around. And you know what? If I get that sense, I'm gonna let them model and move around and do what they want to do, because that's just me. I'm not out after like it has to be this way and it has to be artistic. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, if this is what you're here for, this is what I'm here to give you. That's just sort of my philosophy.
And it's funny you say that, like modeling and moving around, because how many times are you in a restaurant and you see the person doing the selfie and making the fish lips and
Yeah.
yes. And so we have these, we're conditioned to pose, I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And it's different than a selfie. It's so
It
different.
is, and I've noticed a huge difference, since because I was shooting really when things were like, it was my people were using MySpace, you know what I mean, like before there was Instagram, even sort of before Facebook. So people weren't so accustomed to like doing their own selfies and doing so much on their phone and like knowing how they like to look. And I've seen that sort of progress over the years where girls come in now and they're given a lot of the Instagram modelly poses and, the lips and stuff like that. And again, it's just like, I deal with each person where they're at. I don't take someone like that and go, no, you have to be here. We need to take you serious as an actress. It's like, that might not be their journey. They might be here because they want beautiful pictures and they're giving the acting thing a
Hmm.
shot, and I'm just going to do my best to get you know the best images of them that I can get. Something's going to connect during it at some point. Now whether they end up choosing the right shots that are connected, or whether they just choose the ones that where they like their angle, that's up to them. I have no say over that, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's out of your hands. Like once
Right.
you take them. Yeah, that must be a
Yeah.
little scary, because people can then retouch what you retouch or change things, right? And it's representative of you. I mean, is that ever an issue?
I've seen a few times where people have like overly manipulated the photos, and I'm just like, I didn't do that. They overly saturated it or did some, put some kind of crazy filter on it. Again, I'm not a control freak at all, so I'm just like, you paid for them, I gave them to you. I'm not gonna. I have my work that I display. If people want to see what my work looks like, come to my page. You know, obviously, sure. If someone's posting stuff that looks a little off the wall, but again, I mean, they paid for it, so I'm
Yeah.
not gonna be like, hey, remove that filter. Uh,
Yeah, the filter police.
right.
Actually, you mentioned the word journey, and headshots are a journey. I have my first headshots to now,
Yeah.
and how often do you feel that actors should refresh?
I think, well, there's a really simple answer for girls, which is if you're going to change your hair color, hair length, obviously that's got to kind of be up to date. So a lot of girls tend to shoot more often than guys for those reasons. Like they're sort of more drastically changing their appearance more frequently. I think if you're a guy, I'd say not more than 3 years. Not because you necessarily look different, but also, sometimes casting, when they're seeing the same images over and over, it's not good. You want to like you want to have something fresh for them to go, oh, I know him, but that's a great shot. Or, if they see the same images over and over, I think psychologically it can have a, will pass impact on that kind of thing. So, uh, you know, 3 years for guys, girls are probably more like year and a half, 2 years. But again, depends on, you know,
Unless you're me.
how different you look. Then it's every 6 months.
It's every 6 months because I am constantly changing and evolving as a human being. And I also use your photos for promotion. So let's talk about other
Yeah.
uses for photos. I use them for teaching, I use them for my podcast. Can you tell me how many non actors you shoot? Because there will be people listening who might want a certain kind of
Sure.
shot besides an actor headshot.
I would say the percentage is in the 90th percentile for actors. Like most of the people I shoot are actors. I shot some lawyers recently. Sometimes people will come in just for, online dating photos, but that's not very frequent. A lot of times it's people, yeah, like they're a realtor or a business person and they needed to shot for their website, their LinkedIn. Um, I did a portrait session recently for a guy who's a new director, needs, like you said, just publicity, needs a shot for publicity purposes when he's going to a film screening or something like that. So, but it's 90% actors, if not more.
Yeah, with social media, you go through photos like crazy, and there is
Yeah,
oversaturation. Like there's, yes, I recognize her. She's a teacher, she's a podcaster, but then after a while, you get tired of using the same shot. So I think actors should think about that with websites, with promotion, anything you're doing, to
yeah,
constantly recreate yourself. I think that's
that's
been
the thing.
the most fun.
Um, yeah, and I've noticed to a trend where actors are now starting to use a little bit more editorial style photos as opposed to traditional headshots. Now, whether or not they're submitting them for castings or just using them sort of for their IMDb or social media, I don't know. But I've been developing a more editorial portfolio recently because I see the trend moving in that direction. Again, that's not necessarily what casting might be looking for or what your agent wants to use, But we're in a world of content, right? So when someone goes to your IMDb, they go to your Instagram, which clients check out Instagram before they book people nowadays. It's good to have sort of magazine style photos that make you look your best, make you look like you're working. So people are definitely using more of those, including actors, for promotional purposes. Yeah.
Yeah, and we did a little of that at the end of our headshot. And
Yeah.
when you brought that fan out, it really relaxed me and it was very lifestyle. I
Yeah.
think my next shoot with you will be that editorial. I think that would be really fun to do
Yeah.
more of that.
I enjoyed doing it. I stayed away from it for years because, again, it wasn't what casting wanted. You know what I mean? But now that things are sort of moving more in that direction, and I like it because it's like, as a photographer, it's a creative endeavor. So you don't want to be limited to sort of the industry rules of like, don't wear a logo and don't have red and don't wear this. And it's just like, you want to be able to create, and for so many years, for 15 years, I stayed in a box of, traditional headshots that the industry wants, trying to be creative within that. So it's
Mhm.
nice now to be able to do, you know, more creative stuff and say, forget all the boxes and let's shoot and make you look great. Let's bring the fan out. It adds dimension and creativity to the shot.
I
And like
love
you said, it
that.
makes you feel a certain way.
It does. And I loved what you did for our art gallery at BG Art Gallery Artist and Amuse. And we blew your photos up of myself and Ron. And that was something different than a headshot. So I really thank you
Yeah.
for that. So we've done two headshots, one art gallery pose, one art gallery look. And now I don't know what the next thing will be, but I'm so excited to find out what it will be. Okay, David, tell us where we can find you, how we book sessions with you, all that good stuff.
All right, wonderful. My website is davidmullerphotography.com, and it's Muller. Instagram is at David Muller Photography. And, there's links on the website for pricing and booking and all that good stuff. People can email studio@davidmullerphotography.com for, availability and booking.
And you have great makeup artists. I want to shout out to Ashanta, who
Yeah.
has worked with me a couple times. I love her. And she's done wigs with me and all sorts of different hair pieces. And she can do anything. She's really,
I have Ashanta Morris, I have Kate Hollinshead, and Joanna Klein. They've all been working with me for years. I have other backups and stuff like that as well, but those are my three main gals. So yeah,
shout out to them. For
yeah,
years I had friends take headshots to try to save money. I did everything
yeah,
but commit to the real deal. And if you want to take yourself seriously, and this is not a sales pitch, this is coming from years of experience. Why did I do that for so long? Why didn't I invest in like the best? And finally this year I thought, I'm going to get the best. I'm going to get the best podcast equipment. I'm going to get the best camera backdrop and headshots. And, when you go with, all bases loaded, and then after that, and you get the acting training and you do the auditions and, you have everything lined up, then you've given it your best. And that's all we can do in this industry, right, David?
exactly. And it's psychological too. I think when you're doing it on the cheap, you're not going to put as much into it as when you're going, okay, I'm paying good money for this and I need to be ready and I need to give it my best, and you're going to find the best wardrobe. So it's just in your own mind, just investing is going to make an impact on your part in the process.
That is so true. All right, let's step up our game we're going into 2024. David, you shoot in Granada Hills. That's where your studio is, and
Yes.
really accessible from anywhere. I mean, I'm on the west side, and wasn't a bad Uber drive. And
Yeah.
what I love about shooting with you is that it's you're not like right in the middle of the city. It's not so hectic. There's a really relaxed to your location, a really relaxed feel. So it's like
Yeah.
taking a vacation for a few hours.
Well, and I've had studios for years and years, and the last studio, my lease was ending, and I couldn't find any place where I wanted to sign a lease. Nothing just seemed right. And I was like, I want to try working from home. Everyone's working from home, and I have the space to do it. So I've created a home studio, and it's lovely. Everyone, like you said, enjoys the sort of peacefulness. It's a serene area, and yeah, it's been working really well.
Everyone checks it out. You're welcome. I mean, I love it. It's beautiful there. So I know we'll see each other soon. In the meantime, thank you so much for your precious time, your talent, and for helping so many actors fulfill their dreams and really have a legitimate shot at a life in the acting profession.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. I want to get people the best shots I can get them and make them feel good. And I know the struggle because I was in it. And
Right.
yeah, so I just try to make it easy. And I'm a pleaser by nature. I want people to be happy. So, you know,
Good.
I do my best.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You're one
Well,
of
thank
us.
you, and thank you for your time and effort, and for inviting me here. And I'm glad you're such a fan and have gotten great shots with me, and we'll
We'll
continue to
continue.
do so.
We
Yeah.
will. Thank you so much, David, for all of your wisdom, your talent, for helping us all shine and be the best authentic person we can be in front of your camera. If you'd like to hear more of my podcast, please visit my website at diaryofanactress.com. Until next time, stay inspired.